it's go time for us because we've all signed a sacred contract in this lifetime that we want to go big. We want to be of service. We want to serve our souls. We want to show up for our lives. And we can't play small anymore.
Gabrielle Bernstein, a role model for spiritual seekers.
All right, so we're in the studio with Joshi, and I'm in full-blown bad attitude day. I don't know what the hell is going on with me. I'm in a bad attitude, so we'll work it out.
Yeah, let's work it out.
But we got to work it out. But now I'm a gaffer.
You're totally a gaffer.
I'm a gaffer, which means I move
Fix the lighting.
fix the lighting.
Yeah.
I literally have been the most control this whole time.
Nah.
But I think we got the lighting right. And for those of you listening, you don't even all right, but we're here in the studio, going to try to turn my baditude around today. And we have a really cool episode. This is like our most produced episode.
Well, that's what I was about to say. We're going to turn the attitude around because this is a really awesome thing to talk about today.
It's an awesome thing to talk about. It's something that we are going to try to do more of. I think
Correct.
we should.
Yeah,
so as many of you listening know, my primary vocation other than writing books is as a motivational speaker. And so we have in the past shared some of my talks on the podcast. And Josh and I are doing something super cool now, which is we're going to share a clip from a talk, and then we're going to deconstruct it together in conversation. And this is a clip from a talk I gave a year ago. We're going to tee up this episode with this 5-minute clip. And it was the first time I spoke about my new book, which is coming out in December, Self-Help. This is your chance to change your life. It was the first time I introduced self-help to a live audience. And I actually did it by accident. The talk was supposed to be about Happy Days, my previous book, but I was writing self-help at the time. I always like to workshop live on stage whatever I'm writing about because it's on my mind. It's like what's happening.
Yeah.
And so while I should be talking about the previous book, I couldn't. I had so much that I wanted to share about self-help. So here I was on the stage, and boom, here I busted it out, and I started talking about this topic from the book. This is a 5-minute clip that I really felt was a valuable conversation starter for you and I today, and you love it.
I love it.
It's called It's Go Time.
Yeah, having listened to the whole talk, it takes so much of what you were saying about the book and it distills it down into some really amazing things that we can talk about specifically without going into the whole book, but it gives us really cool things to talk about.
This one specifically tees up the urgency of the why, why we need to step into our greatest inner power now more than ever.
I was going to say that because it's about the now.
It's about the now. And I did something super cool too, which is if you're inspired by this clip and the way that we talk about it, I actually took 20 minutes of the talk. You edited it. And we are giving it as a bonus gift for people that pre-order my book before September 26th. So when you go to deargabby.com/self-help, you can pre-order the book, get this bonus, which is the 20-minute full version of this talk, plus you get enrolled in a full day self-help masterclass with me November 16th. We're going to be in the studio. There's going to be thousands and thousands of people all throughout the world that have all pre-ordered the book. And then that day, I'm going to bring the book to life. And this is the pre-order event, the big event. And so if you super clear, pre-order, you get the big event on November 16th. And if you pre-order before September 26th, you get this extra bonus, which is the full version of this talk. So go to deargabby.com/self-help. Now, after this, whatever, go do your pre-order, get this full listen. You're not going to want to miss this. But we're going to give you a little clip of it right now. In the clip, I'm going to break down for you why right here, right now, it's go time. It's go time. And not only is it go time for us, but it's go time for those of us in these rooms, because those of us in these rooms are the ones who have cracked open to the possibility. And when we crack open, we let the light in. And when we let that light in, we become light workers. We have the energy and the power and the momentum to show up, not just for our own lives, but for the world, for the people in our lives, for the children in our lives, for people we don't even know. Every human we encounter is an impact. Our energy matters. You want to change the world? Change your energy. And so as I work on this book I'm writing right now, which is my 10th book in 13 years, I don't know how that happened. And I'm working on this 10th book. It's called Self-Help. What we need most. I'm deep, deep in the go time work. Because many of you are sitting here and you're like, yeah, Gabby, you know, there's something in my life that isn't in alignment with what I want, yeah? So what's the belief system that's holding you back from attracting what it is that you desire? What is that belief system? Tell me. Not enough money. Okay, what else? Not worthy, not good enough. What else? Fear. I don't know how. Someone else is doing it. Pride. What else? Control. I know that one. Anyone else? Too old? Oh, get over that. Okay. How old was Louise when she started here reading? 60. Yeah, get over it, okay? I'm just kidding. I'm saying that with a lot of love. But Louise is saying it through me now, okay? But actually, I really want to come back to that. I don't actually want to say just get over that. That's a joke. I'm totally kidding. I want to befriend that part of you that thinks that, oh, I'm too old for this. I want to teach you how to befriend the parts of you that still don't believe. Because if we do, I was really joking, because if we do that, what I just said, oh, get over that. Oh, get over that. Move on. Calm down. Have you ever told yourself when you're anxious, oh, just calm down? The anxious part of you is like, F off. So I love that happened, because it's actually the opposite of what I'm teaching you today. There's no get over it. It's befriending it. It's recognizing that the parts of us that don't believe yet are just parts of us. They're not who we really are. They're stories from the past. They're protection mechanisms. They're parts of us that are keeping us small to protect us. Protect us from impermissible, exiled feelings from our past. And I'm sure anyone in this room has done some amount of personal growth work, that you're somewhat aware of the experience from your childhood that was the catalyst for you to be in a belief system today of fear or lack or financial insecurity or I'm too old or I'm not good enough. Yeah, you know where that came from, right? And so when we start to relate to our experiences and our behaviors and our disbelief and our blocks and our addictions and our patterns and our reactivity and all these different ways that we judge ourselves for day over day over day, when we begin to relate to those parts of ourselves from the place of compassion and connection and courage, connectedness, clarity, creativity, calmness, we can befriend them. We can befriend every part of who we are. And we can recognize that there's no bad parts of us. They're just burdened. They've just been telling themselves the same story for decades. They've just been stuck in a somatic experience that's triggered and fearful. They've just been protecting you from feeling or facing into deeper wounds. What I'm teaching you right now is a therapeutic model called internal family systems therapy. And I've been trained in IFS throughout the last few years. I have been personally transformed in many ways, transmuted, recycled, and rebirthed as a result of being in internal family systems therapy for over a decade with my therapist, and then befriending Dick Schwartz, the founder of this model, and being trained in it. What I'm teaching you is what I call self-help.
Oh my God, I love that. It's so good. As I mentioned, this is one of my favorite clips. I love it because it's so specific and it gives you an opportunity to really distill down the message. And that's really my first question for you, which is, you talk about go time. Explain what you mean exactly about go time.
Yeah, I think that the message here in this talk is that we can't play small anymore. We can't hide out anymore. ignore the patterns that have held us back. We can't avoid the addictive behaviors or the extreme patterns or the things that we keep falling back to. It's time for us, particularly anybody that's listening to Dear Gabby or raising their hand and wanting to read a book called Self Help. It's go time for us
Mhm.
because we've all signed a sacred contract in this lifetime that we want to go big. We want to be of service. We want to serve our souls. We want to show up for our lives. And we can't play small anymore. And so, in that message today, in this little clip, was let's go. Let's go. And the go time doesn't mean we push forward. It doesn't mean that we go try to make something happen or force ourselves into being something different. What it means is that we actually turn inward and start to do the deeper inner work that is required for us to take that next level in our life. The only way we can up level is to in level first.
Oh, I love that.
Oh,
In
God. In
level.
leveling.
My God.
Who knew?
Yeah.
In leveling. I don't know if I love it. We're going to come back to that one.
I like it.
I
So
like to also point out that Lois is in the house. Okay,
Oh,
Josh's mom shows up as like bugs. She's like always a fly on the wall. There's a fly in this room that will not leave, and it's Lois.
she's here.
Lois is here.
You talk also about playing small
Mhm.
in the clip.
Mhm.
What was the moment when you realized, like, I can no longer do this? I cannot play small anymore? Because I think that's a really important thing for us to understand.
Mm. I think it's been recently.
Mhm.
I think recently I've been looking at the compromises I might have been making in my life and sort of the perceptions I may have been placing upon myself and just sort of made this commitment inside that's like, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not gonna accept that anymore. I'm gonna create a boundary here. I'm gonna have higher expectations of myself, of others, of the ways that I want to show up. I think it's been really recent that I've had that commitment. I think I've always thought that I was not playing small, and maybe on the outside it looks like I wasn't. But right here, right now, I think that the commitment that I'm making to democratize this therapy and to go out and be, this woman who has no credentials as a therapist, but I have been trained in IFS, to go out and take this model and to have the balls to go out and say, I'm going, and the chutzpah to say, I'm going to go turn this into self-help, this world-renowned therapy. And then it's one thing to write the book. It's another thing to print the book. And then it's the next thing to actually go out and deliver the book to the world. And so I think this point of delivery that we're in the precipice of right now, book's coming out December 31st, it's pre-orders. I'm talking about it. This is go time for me because this is something, it's a detour from what I've done in the past. And it's the most important teachings I can offer because it's taking the deep, deep, deep healing work that is required for us to live with sobriety, to recover from trauma, to heal the patterns that block us, to stop the addictive behaviors, to no longer play small. And so I guess in my commitment to not playing small, I'm helping other people do the same.
So basically, you, from not playing small, you went huge.
Yeah, but you know how I am. I'm here for the big guns here. I'm here for the big stuff.
And for those of us, the rest of us, like, how would we begin to sort of identify, like, oh, you know what, I'm playing small in this part of my life, and I want to move away from that and sort of move towards the
Great
large?
question. Are you stuck in a pattern that is holding you back? Are you in extreme behaviors that you judge yourself for later on in life or later on in the day? Are you acting out in your relationships? Are you upper limiting yourself? Like what I mean by that is, are you getting to a place where you feel like there's this next step and then you kind of stop it, or you think it's too good to be true? Are you not feeling free inside? Do you walk through life feeling as though there's burdens inside, belief systems that are not in alignment with who you want to be? Check, 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 check. I don't know if you're doing a lot of personal development. You hang out with me a lot. You do a lot of your own work. You have been for your life, but I'm sure there's something in that list that resonates.
Oh, yeah, no, for me, for sure. And, one of the what came to mind, and this isn't necessarily for me, but just in general, is the idea of worthiness, right?
Mm.
Like, when you don't feel worthy, is that an example of not of playing small?
Yeah, and I think that we can adjust the playing small a little bit because we're not going to be able to go big unless we address the root cause of why we're playing small. And so let's take away the attitude of playing small and
Okay.
make it more compassionate. There's areas of our life where we're not living at our highest potential. Why? Because we have belief systems that are out of alignment with what we really want, who we want to be. Those belief systems are very young. They've been around for a very long time. And they carry the burdens of childhood experiences that we never actually processed. So here we are, we're living in and out of these beliefs that are not in alignment with what we really want. And so that feels like we're playing small. That feels like we're avoiding. That feels like we have more reasons to judge ourselves because we're not showing up at our highest capacity. But I want to take away all that judgment and just offer the listener a chance to recognize that there is a healing path. It's all in the pages of self-help. I mean, the four-step method that we're going to be talking about for the next not
Yeah.
9 months is the answer. It's so the message today is when we take that commitment. I think this is the core message of this episode is the way to stop playing small, the way to step in is to turn inward, is to go in.
So would you say that's step one, right? Is to
It's
turn
to just
inward?
to recognize that there's nothing outside of yourself that you can do to fix this, to fix the issues that you're having on the inside. The internal shift has to happen with what is laid out inside the pages of self-help. Also in the full talk that you can get when you pre-order the book, you get this full talk. And I introduced the 4 steps of the self-help check-in. At the time it was actually 3 steps. I've changed it to now 4 steps. And it's really an inquiry. It's extending a connection and compassion and curiosity inside. And so for today's conversation, I really just want to let the listener, as we pace and track with this book, because
Mhm.
we're just sort of in this pre-phase of the book's not out yet, so people aren't holding it. I can kind of give you the insight that this early conversation is to recognize that the reasons that we are not living at our highest potential are not because we're bad. It's not because we're not good enough. It's not because we should be ashamed or blame ourselves or live in fear. It's because we've been living with beliefs that are young, and those young beliefs need healing. And that if you can just witness that first today, if that's it, that we all get, that's all we get out of this episode is I've got these belief systems and they're not who I am. They're just burdened beliefs that have been around for a long time. And that Gabby's telling me I have the power to heal these belief systems. She has a plan for me. But today, my only job is to accept and recognize that it's not me that's playing small. It's not me that's bad. It's not me that's the addict. It's a part of me that's showing up in my life as a result of a belief system I carry.
I love that so much because it's a really tangible step to take, right? Like,
So that's the step today. Yeah.
and I the way again you sort of break it down, I'm just going to repeat it back to you as a layperson. So for me, step one is to really stop for a second and, like you said, turn inward and see what that part of me is what is the part that's holding me back, or what is it that's judging, or what is that, and just identify it. That's all I have to do, right? Is
Mm.
just see where it is that, would you say that's correct?
I think it's today just about witnessing the beliefs that are holding you back. So a belief for me, my belief, it's that, that I have to do everything. No one else is going to do. It's still holding me back. I mean, even just frustrations when I walk in the lighting and I'm fixing
Right.
and I'm the gaff girl today.
Totally.
And instead of carrying the belief of like the burden belief of like, oh, I have to do it. I want to step into the belief that, oh, wow, I'm super capable. And it's okay if not everybody's wanting it the same way I want it, but when I have the power to show up, I'll show up. It's the great serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And so for me, as I heal that burdened belief, the unburdened part of me that no longer would carry that belief of everybody having to do this for me, that part of me as it heals can start to claim that, well, I have the courage to know the difference. I can recognize the things I cannot change, and I have the courage to change the things I can. So I can change the lighting today if I want to.
Yeah, as you're saying that, I'm like, what is it? What is the playing on the loop in my head, right? Like
Mm,
I'm trying to identify it for myself.
mm,
And for me, like it comes up as like everything has to be perfect. Like, don't make a
mm.
mistake. It's got to be perfect. Make sure everything is aligned. It's ready, go, and like you said, like
That holds you back.
that holds me back because it
Makes you
also, it
nervous.
makes you nervous. I mean, makes me nervous. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, and you know how old that part of you is?
That's old.
Yeah, the little guy.
Yeah. That's a little one
He's been
for
around for
sure.
a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when we do the self-help check-in, when we were going to practice that in the book and everything, we would just first and foremost just notice that part of you.
Hmm.
Notice, okay, I have a part of me that thinks he needs to be perfect. And then you would go into the next steps. This is all the work inside self-help, which is to choose to check in with that young part of you. And then to become a little curious about him, asking him some questions. Or maybe he doesn't have a gender. Sometimes these parts of us don't have genders. And then to extend some compassion, asking that part what it needs. And then we would check around and see how we feel after that and look for the self qualities of courage and calmness. And this is the very abbreviated cliff notes of this book. I'm teasing it for you people.
But that's a good point because like this personal development work is
Mhm.
really super deep.
It is. And look, I'm taking a therapeutic process that is done in years and years of sessions of therapy and taking it out of the treatment room and into your audiobook or into your print book and into your hands so that you can start to learn an IFS informed self-help tool. So it's no small thing and it's safe. I've done it in a very safe way and in a way that's very gentle with the blessing of my mentor and the founder of IFS, Dr. Richard Schwartz. And it's going to change your life. I mean, there's no way that I would put that subject line, the subtitle, "This is your chance to change your life," if I didn't mean it. If you like this video and you want to get more Gabby, check out the next one right over here.